We're in showbiz, baby.
We're in showbiz, baby. Phil, your mic was fucking grand for the 7 minutes you spoke to me before we started this, and as soon as I start, you start volleying the mic around the room. Stop it. Ladies and gentlemen, viewers of all ages, welcome to Winners and Losers from the LFC Daytrippers. It's me, Gav, it's Pete, it's Phil, who's going to throw his mic around for the next 48 to 60 minutes and then tell me that he has a new mic. It's all sorted. I'll have it done next week.
I just don't have the mixer yet.
Yeah, where is the mixer?
That's the issue, right? I don't know where the mixer is. If I did know where the mixer is,
it not in the studio?
It could be, but you've been in the studio. It's not really a studio anymore.
No, it's like
a recycling centre.
It's like, yeah,
an explosion of things.
It's like everyone on the street's possessions is being put into a room.
You know the way they call it, the internet of things. Mm-hmm. Well, that's like a shed of things. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just a shed of things.
But knowing us, we'll have an attempt at doing a show in there at some stage where everything's still in it.
Yeah, sit on top of the boxes, the works.
Yeah, and the drums and shit. But anyway, this is Winners and Losers. You know how it works. We have some topics, and what we do is we talk about winners, we talk about losers, and we go through it. This week, though, I've put a time limit of 12 minutes on each of the topics, which means we have 4 topics tonight, 48 minutes worth of chat, and then we might do a bit at the end where we just have random people asking random stuff.
Laura Duffy says, does the mixer magically fix when Phil drops the mic? Laura, my mic is, I've actually got a fantastic mic here. Yeah. Right? I do have a fantastic mic. I have it all set up. I just haven't had a chance yet to use it. Look, there's a thing that'll come in this way. It look very professional. It works.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work.
So why don't you use that to cradle the mic that's broken?
Because it doesn't work, because it doesn't fit. This is a round mic and this one is a strange square. Yeah, and it doesn't fit into the round wind holder thing.
Well, listen, we'll try to find you a mixer for next week because you're doing me fucking head in. I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, winners and losers. 12 minutes per topic this week. As many, if you're in here and you're watching and you like what we do, hit the like button, subscribe, share it across all your social medias and stuff like that. But most of all, put comments in there, because if we get our 12 minutes multiplied by 4 is 48, that'll bring us to about 22:53, 22:54, which leaves us 6 minutes to talk about Phil, his accreditation in the World Games, and anything else that comes along, like what fucking crisps you're putting on the sandwich after we finish, stuff like that. So, where are we going to start? P, we would like to start with you, I think. Let me see. Let me get you set up, Pete, right? So, let me see. So.
Impressive setup.
Okay. You ready?
Ding.
Okay, Pete. Relentless Liverpool. You want to talk about that, right? Okay. So, on your marks, get set, go.
Just think of, to be honest with you, with regards to winners and losers, again, you know, they can only, people always hammer me, it's Liverpool this, Liverpool that, but in fairness, I mean, Jurgen Klopp made the comment the other day, you probably picked up on it, that there's a reason why nobody's done the quadruple. The reason why, because, you know, it's virtually impossible. And I think it's made impossible by the fact that the Premier League, the Football Association, certainly in England, don't facilitate the possibility for any club to fight on all fronts. I mean, I've only got Spain, where I've been living for 8 or 9 years, as a reference. The minute anyone goes any kind of distance in Europe, all bets are off. It's like you can't play against them. They just get isolated and put to one side. You know, they never play. Certainly 2 games a week, let alone 3. I just think, you know, the fact that he doesn't spend any time complaining about it. Okay, he makes his comments. He made the comments about 5 substitutes, and a year later, or 2 years later, as it were, the powers that be decide, oh yeah, that is a good idea after all, and we will implement it. You know, he's generally right in his approach when it comes to that. So for me, there can only be one winner in terms of in terms of my winners for this week. To be still, what are we now? The 8th, 9th of May, wherever we are, to be still having a solid conversation about attacking 4 competitions on all fronts at this stage of the season certainly is unheard of. Certainly unheard of. And that's why my winner of the week is Jurgen Klopp and his mighty Reds Liverpool Football Club.
Is it because, is your main thing on this is because you feel like they're not getting any help the way, say, Villarreal did with not playing the weekend before the first leg?
Yeah. Go to any other country in Europe. I mean, the priority is, to boost their international reputation and to make sure that they go and bring home some pride to that particular country. And the Brits tend to look at it in a different way. It's almost like, if it's not us, we're not interested in it. I don't know what it is, but they're just not interested in helping their own. I mean, we can have a conversation about the lack of a Christmas break. Me personally, I'd be gutted if there was no football at Christmas, but common sense would dictate that there really should be a Christmas break. And then, I know that they will counter argue that, but there could have been 2 English clubs in the Champions League final yet again. But most of the other British clubs, bar Liverpool and Rangers, have fallen at the final hurdle. And to be honest with you, there's reasons for that. But I just think I'm being selfish here on behalf of Liverpool. The fact that, I'm not saying it won't happen. I've said before on this show that I think Liverpool are on a different level. And they've had to be, because you don't get the help, to answer your question, you don't get the help, Gav. The FA or the Premier League won't sit down with the club and say, okay, you could win. We could have a club in this country that's arguably have the greatest season that football has ever seen. So let's try and facilitate that. So you're doing it despite everybody, to be honest.
Phil, Liverpool draw at the weekend. They've been on a brilliant run. Going back God knows how long. Do you see them as a loser this weekend because they haven't won a game, or do you see where Pete's coming from in the case of, despite what playing games every 3 days for, it just seems forever. Liverpool, despite the league probably being difficult, they're still in all these competitions. Have a league game tomorrow, have an FA Cup final Saturday, have a league game next, I want to say Tuesday, Wednesday against Southampton, and then the final league game on the Sunday, followed by the Champions League. So it's not letting up. Where do you stand on this?
Well, I think Pete's talking nonsense this time around, right? Because they can't be winners of the week.
Huge shout with 7:55 left on the clock.
Right. It's pure nonsense. It's pure rose-tinted glasses in terms of what's there. Because basically, look, the league is unlikely to come our way as a result of the result where we played a average Spurs team in a home match in Anfield, and for whatever reason,
drowned myself with tea.
Basically, you did what we did with crosses. They drowned themselves in crosses.
I just drowned myself with tea. Sorry.
Yeah, and instead of trying something different, and this is the Klopp can't do anything about this. This is what the players get into on the pitch, and sometimes I've seen teams do. I've even seen City do. They get into this thing where they think, "Yeah, get this cross will work," and they just keep doing it over and over again. And we saw it in Liverpool's bad run last year when we were struggling. We were lashing crosses in a million times a match, right? And nothing was happening over. And if you look at the Diaz goal, it's probably one of the few chances in the second half where we don't try to lash a cross in, right? And it's just a deflected shot that goes in the net. So in that way, we probably, I think Spurs obviously had a game plan that they felt they could deal with crosses and just force us into situations where crossing seemed the most likely outcome for the positions that they were in the pitch. So it's not that I'm not slagging off Liverpool, because I'm not. But I can't give it relentless Liverpool. I can't give it that, because I do agree in some instances that the league is strange in terms of the way the fixture list is. But look, it's why would the league set it up for a team to win the quadruple? Why would the league change the rules or the laws to do it? Now, if you're to ask me, do you think it's right to have a 7:45 kickoff on a Saturday evening, right, after a Champions League match? I think it's ridiculous. I think it should be, if you play Champions League on Tuesday or Wednesday, you should be playing on the Sunday. It's the same as if you play the Europa League, you should play on the Monday, if you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
And then whatever happens the following week happens the following week. But we're talking about, at the same time we started Sunday morning on top of the league. Heads were falling off all over the shop because we were at the top of the league, regardless of what way you looked at it, right? And so to me, Liverpool were nothing this week. They're probably the emptiers of the week because they neither won or lost. Nothing's being lost and nothing's being gained, but it feels like nothing can be achieved in the league as a result of that fixture. Okay, and it's now we no longer control any part of our destiny, and it's very hard to put any type of pressure on Manchester City. So, as I said, we neither won or lost. It was just a week where we had a normal result because that team hasn't been doing normal results for the best part of 5 months now at this stage. They dropped 4 points since January the 2nd, 2 to Manchester City and 2 to Tottenham. So, as I said, it's neither winners nor losers. That's why I just don't believe it's the relentless part of it.
Yeah, I think it's just the relentless part is probably the fact that the fixtures are relentless. I think that's probably more where people's coming from. It's that I don't think it's a case of Liverpool are completely relentless. They have been. The relentlessness kind of stopped on Saturday night. With regards to helping leagues out and stuff like that, Spain do it where they don't. If you get into a semi-final, they don't play. They basically call off your game before the first leg. Now they do play before the second leg, but they basically say, right, give them a week to get themselves sorted for this Champions League, and then they'll have the 3 games in 10 days, or whatever it might be, or 8 days, I think it is.
Well, not 4.
But not 4, yeah. But, I kind of agree with you, Phil. The Premier League aren't known for helping teams out. And this is going right back. This is probably going back to really early Premier League days. I remember Manchester United playing 4 games in 9 days, I think. In one Premier League season. I think it was around, I don't think it was 99. I think it might have been a bit earlier than that. And it was the first time I've ever kind of come across going, what's going on here? They were literally had 4 games in 9 days. But the Premier League aren't known for it. They just stick to what they're doing. And you see, there's so many big hitting shareholders in the Premier League, and no, as much as they work together, they don't like each other getting anything out of it. So if Liverpool were to say we're playing on Villarreal on Tuesday or Wednesday night, and it's turned around and said, look, we're putting Spurs back to Sunday because of this, or sure as hell City will kick up a fuss, regardless of whether they go out or not against Real Madrid. Arsenal will kick up a fuss. Spurs will kick up a fuss because they're ready to go and play. Arsenal are up against Spurs in the league. United will do it just because why not? The sort of way. So there's too many big voices for it to be something that will work.
But there should be an overriding factor, Gav.
I know that, but you see, every overriding factor in the Premier League has to be voted on. And to get anything through in the Premier League, you need 14 clubs to agree. You've seen it with the 5 subs. You've seen it with other issues around where you need to get 14 clubs. That 5 sub rule was thrown away last season. No, it didn't happen. As has happened this season because other teams have changed their mind. But overall, if you're expecting anything from the Premier League, I'll put it to you this way: the Premier League are investigating Manchester City for about 3 years now and have not said a fucking word on it. Right? So if you're expecting the Premier League to do something as small as helping out teams that are in European semi-finals, i.e. Liverpool, Man City and West Ham, they didn't do a tap to help any of them. West Ham played on Thursday night and they came out and played Sunday, 2 o'clock. Yeah, so no help to West Ham. Fuck them. The sort of way. All they care is about their brand, and that's all that really matters. Anything else on it before we move on?
No, for me, I'll stick to my guns as I do. I take both your points on. And I think the point that you're using to shut it down
your
is
guns
that
have no bullets, Peter. Your guns have no bullets. You're just waving around the toy guns.
By virtue of the fact that the Premier League does nothing to help Liverpool, it doesn't make Liverpool any less winners in the fact that they face the fixtures. To be honest with you, you'd still walk away from that game. I know Spurs had a massive chance at the end, but you still walk away from the game. And this is the sign of being a winner. Disappointed not to take 3 points after. If you looked at those fixtures on paper, certainly the last 10 games, you'd go, how on earth is the team going to get through these fixtures in any way, shape or form? Now you're kind of looking at going, disappointed not to win all those games. For me, that's a sign that not only are we can talk about individual signings and happenstances, but I just think it's, I've said it before, I just think Liverpool are on a different level to most other teams. Obviously Liverpool and Manchester United or Manchester City are on a different level, but I really think just even again Liverpool have that extra, and I do fancy with the injuries that City are coming across, certainly over the last couple. I think Pep has lost his reason, and we'll talk about it in the losers. later on. But Pep is losing his reason because he knows what's going on in the background.
He said this a few weeks back. You were pointing out that we're the best club in the world just before Christmas, and we ended up 12 points behind City. But we ended up 12 points behind City. We then had to win every game ever since the history of football to get to a point where we were 1 point behind City. And now you're saying that City, you're going to fall over in the last 3 games, and we're going to win.
Yeah, we're going to win this.
You are nuts.
We're going to win this game. We're going to win this.
We're
going to win it.
I will say I won't give up on the league title until it's.
We're going to win it.
I'm not saying give up on the league title. I certainly am advocating that we need to win our last 3 games. Just win them, right? That's all you do. Job done. There's no relentless for Liverpool. There was no winners or losers this week with Liverpool. It just existed. It just was there.
Spoiled, yeah.
We're in showbiz, baby.
Right, that's the 12 minutes done. Dan Austin says, Filibuster, a new game for all the family to fall out with each other at Christmas. Could be a board game idea there, Phil, I'm being honest with you. But, look, I don't know do you know what we do? The league, Pete, you're adamant on this. I'm a bit like that. I won't give up until it's mathematically impossible.
Why
would you? You still believe Liverpool will win this?
Who, me?
Pete?
Yeah, I do. I just think, there's a reason why that guy is losing his head, and he's seeing things. I mean, listen, he is a top class coach. He knows his own side, and he's panicking. I think he's looking at West Ham and he's looking at Wolves, saying, I don't fancy going there. Whatever about Villa, but I think he's looking at those two and fixtures that he doesn't have a great history in. By the way, I fancy West Ham.
Roll into Pete's losers since we've started to talk about them.
Okay, Pete's losers was, what was your losers, Keith or Pete?
Well, I said all of the rivals that are. I mean, to be honest with you, for me, I mean, where do you start? Start with Everton having to invent things like.
So we roll into Pete's losers then, right? Here we go.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start with Everton. Having to invent things to discredit what's going on at Anfield, like performance enhancement drugs, and I mean, I've seen especially in the online platforms, see more drawings, more artists and people writing songs about fictitious events, things that have never happened about Liverpool. You see fans turning up doing their usual. The sports fans on Saturday night singing about unemployment. The more it's almost like they have to read Lord of the Rings to invent things about Liverpool, to be quite honest with you. Manchester, I mean, I don't even count Manchester United fans. I mean, it's more now these days. I feel sorry for them, to be quite honest. And to top it all off, for me, Pep Guardiola absolutely doing a Kevin Keegan. I mean, if this was a few years ago and he was a few million poorer, you'd be talking about what Pep Guardiola did in the same terms as what Kevin Keegan did against Manchester United. He was all nice when they had their 8, 9, 10 point, 11 point gap, even more. Now, to go on a rant like that, to actually get social media style rant and talk about the fact that we've only done one Premier League, I mean, shows me he's down there with the Gallaghers, to be honest with you, in terms of being he's absolutely not just rent free, but he's gone. His head's gone, and if his head's gone, and he's not, don't tell me he's doing a Jose Mourinho on it. He's taking the pressure on the players. He's reflecting the pressure that is on his players. I think, to be honest with you, the Champions League tipped them over the edge, because the pressure on them to win that after €1 billion spent is absolutely massive. And Liverpool, I'm going to give you the example. Liverpool turned up over the last few years to the FA Cup third round, kind of make a mockery of it, get knocked out here and there. The 4th season that Liverpool decide, Klopp decides, I think I fancy this. He lands in the final, to be quite. Now that if I'm a rival fan, any rival fan, that's winding me up. Liverpool are on the wind up this year, on the absolute wind up, and it just, you see heads falling off all over the place. I mean, the only thing that's going against us, Gav, in my view, is you look at the Newcastle game on Saturday night or Sunday with Manchester City. Newcastle turned up against Liverpool. It was like a cup final for them. They really turned up and rolled over. The thing that goes in City's favour is I don't think anybody holds them in any esteem, or they're just not important to anyone. So they kind of slip results in through the back door, and that goes against us. Now, I'm not saying they're not a great side, but the difference between the Newcastle that turned up at Anfield and the Newcastle that turned up, at their place was practically the same 11. It's just that it's an attitude thing. That's the only thing that goes against them. I mean, nobody cares. And I think Pep is starting to feel it. The press are talking about it here as well. It's like he bought into something that he thought was going to make him a legend. And he's realizing that not only, are people stacked against the spending of the money and some of the sources of the money, but it's the ambivalence, I think, that's getting to him. People don't care, and I think the guy realizes that he might actually be wasting not his time or his career, because he's going to be and he is being hugely rewarded for it. But I think someone like Pep Guardiola, who was a fantastic player and is a fantastic coach, I think he's sitting there thinking to himself, Jesus, Klopp only has to turn up to a press conference and start laughing, and everyone thinks he's the great. He only has to sign a contract, and everyone thinks he's God's gift. And tomorrow, by the way, I'm going to spend another 75 million euros on a centre forward, who everybody's been talking about. So the pressure is coming on again. I just think that Jurgen Klopp, by virtue of just turning up and doing what he's done, has made just put everybody in their place. I just think the heads are falling off. I think Pep has lost it. I think he's completely lost it. I think that rant, if it was any other club, you'd be going, he's not long for that club. He's gone. It's a Kevin Keegan rant, and people aren't seeing it.
I think I said on the show last night, I was quite amused by it, because he's asked, I think he's asked something along the lines of, are you delighted with the reaction after the game during the week? And he starts talking about Liverpool, and his head is completely fried, in my opinion, with regards to the Champions League. I'm not too sure about the league, because someone said, John says there, he starts throwing barbs at Liverpool when he's fairly confident he's won the league. He never does it in the middle of a title race. He's that dude who punches a guy when he's not looking. But I think there is element of truth to what you're saying with regards to Klopp, because Klopp today is asked about Pep Guardiola's comments, and he's literally roared and laughing in a press conference. This is a day after, or 2 days after, maybe the league title is gone, and he's roaring and laughing about it, thinking that this is fucking madness. Like, you're going on about rival excuses. I said this as well last night. I think the whole idea of Man City saving football is multifaceted. I think clubs that have state backing, or previously had backing from Russia, can't understand why Liverpool are there. We have all this money. Why are Liverpool there? And clubs that are ran like Liverpool can't understand why Liverpool are there either, and don't want them there, because basically Manchester City are there, as I said last night, they're an insurance policy. They get out of jail free card, where they can turn around and go, well, how can we compete? Look what Man City are doing. And now you have to put it up and go, well, Liverpool are doing it. Why can't you? And that's why I think Liverpool, they're saving people from Liverpool. And there is an element of, for me, where, Liverpool fans are unbearable. All football fans are unbearable. They're all fucking unbearable. All of them, especially when they're winning. If you're telling me that Manchester United fans weren't unbearable from 1992 right through to 2012, there's something seriously wrong with you. All football fans are unbearable. But I think the easiest way out for most clubs in this league is for Man City to win stuff, because that's what's expected. And it masks what other clubs should be trying to do when you look at Liverpool, and they're not doing it. Phil, rival excuses, where do you stand?
We've been there. We used every excuse under the sun until we got somebody who was a generational manager. City don't have a generational manager. I had a row with Shawnee about 2 years ago over this. Gavin, I think, was on the pod as well. And I was told I was mad about that Pep is the greatest coach of all time, and I said he wasn't. And I stand by it. I stand by everything I said. I think he's a very good coach. I think he has a specific style of football he wants his teams to play. It's changed not too much, but it has had style changes across the years, from his time from Barca through Bayern and now to Manchester City. But all he is a guy who gets the expected number of points out of the squad that he has. That's all he is. He's no better than Mancini. He's no better than Pellegrini when they were at City. And all he is, he's basically a guy who gets them playing in a certain style and a manner. And that's what it is. As far as the comments go, look, again, everyone has spent the time looking at the comments, and him looking for he's looking for his flowers. He's looking for his plaudits for winning 3 leagues.
Is that what it is, Phil? Is that what it is? Because he's very selective in what he says. He selects Liverpool's entire history for their European record and chooses the last 30 years for their league record. Now, if he wants to put them on a par. You should turn around and really say they have a tremendous record of 19 league titles, and they have a tremendous record of 6 European Cups. If he wants to put it to 30 years, we've only won two European Cups against one league. So you can call one magnificent and one not good at all. So he's very selective, isn't he, in the way he's done it? And that, I think, is the bit that made me think, when you're being selective like that, it means your head is fucking fried, Phil. And on top of that, Phil, sorry, one sec, Pete. On top of that, Phil, he's not getting what he expected to get. He expects to be lauded as this god of football and brought football into a new era, a new way of doing things. And people are literally looking, going, mate,
what?
You bought it all. You bought it all.
Exactly.
Gav, can I just say, sorry, Pete, just on it.
Go ahead.
And this is, to me, like, park the rival excuses. Like everyone. I remember when we were struggling and we couldn't figure out how we couldn't break top 4 or challenge for league titles. And occasionally we do it once every now and then, and we thought everything was great and that we're going to be challenging next. So all those teams are pretty irrelevant. Even Chelsea are just a joke shop of a team, regardless of what happens in the FA Cup final. But when I look at it, I say to myself, what is it? What's behind this feeling? And again, it comes back to teams are talking about emulating what Klopp has done at Liverpool and the Liverpool way and the Liverpool method that got them to the top. Nobody's talking about, let's emulate the style of Manchester City. Let's emulate the playing style of Manchester City. So I don't think his head is fried. I think he genuinely believed his own press when he was at Barca, and this was the future of football, and this is how all the great teams should play, with the tiki-taka passing and intrinsic things. And in terms of what he did at Bayern Munich, he added verticality, and it's the next phase of the Pep Guardiola piece. What Guardiola didn't realise is that by never having a challenge, by always looking to ways to cheat his way to success, right? And I'll be pointed about this, because he goes to Italy and he's done for Nandrolone, and he still to this day claims he didn't cheat, that he produced it naturally, even though his body can't produce the levels of Nandrolone that were in the body.
He was sentenced for it, Phil. He was sentenced for it.
I know, but coming back to it, right? Going to a club in Barcelona, we were talking about what Spain do, but Spain really have only 2 teams: with Barcelona and Real Madrid. The rest of the teams are pretty much on a par of irrelevance to what's going on. Those two teams are so far, quite honestly, ahead of everything else. Bayern Munich is in the exact same position. Bayern Munich is the only team in Germany. You can go to Paris Saint-Germain and it'll be the exact same thing. There won't be a team that can match him in the league in terms of what's there. So he's never taken on a challenge. He's gone to Manchester City, where already there was a league winning side in place. Already they had won league titles. He has achieved nothing. And I'll stand by this, Gav. He has achieved absolutely nothing.
90-second warning. Go on, keep going.
Yeah, nothing with Manchester City outside of what he was expected to achieve with the money and the squad he already had in its place, right? They haven't got better. Totally they haven't got worse. They're the exact same as they were when he came in. And if he was to leave tomorrow, they'd be in the exact same position they were when he came in, right? To me, that's the issue here. This is not about him being annoyed at Liverpool. This is him being annoyed, and I think everyone has read this wrong. It's not about him having slated Liverpool. He was just using the Liverpool thing as an example, because in his head he's going, why are they getting the plaudits when I'm doing this amazing job at Manchester City, when we play
this is the thing,
football, and semi-finals of Champions League is success, because he's trying to, in his head, believe that where he's gotten to them is another step on the ladder to where they weren't, but it's not. They're exactly there.
Okay, 34 seconds.
And this is the thing, Phil. When you have to reduce yourself to social media style garbs, which is what he's done, and that social media style reducing, as Gav says, taking snippets of time that suit yourself, that tells me that his head is completely gone. That he's now playing to the gantry, saying, well, people are saying, and he's looking for. It's almost like cruising for likes. He's no better than, some of the idiots out there who cruise for likes. For me, he's gone. And I think that's what Jurgen Klopp was underlining with his laughter in the press conference, to be honest.
We're in showbiz, baby.
Done. I'm really enjoying this. I'm really fucking enjoying this, I have to be honest with you. Okay. We've covered Pete's 2 topics. Phil, what would you like to cover next?
Who am I going? Will I go?
You had.
I'm so annoyed. I was so annoyed yesterday. I was just so annoyed, right?
What were you annoyed about? So I can get it up on screen and get it ready for you.
No, don't say it.
Absolutely everything. Start with the losers, right? Because this is people being throwing flowers at me in the comments. This is going to ruin it now. So go on, throw it up there. Because of all the things that annoyed me, people are giving it about Pep, and people are now giving it about everything else. This annoyed me more than anything else, and I think maybe it's because I am sort of away from social media and the whole interactions and stuff that's gone on. But my God, right? The range of so-called LFC fans that exist on social media that started coming out of the woodwork. It was like the Michael Jackson video when the zombies started appearing out of the graves, right? The hands were coming out and everything. Fuck me, it was horrific. Absolutely horrific. Like, these fellas just appeared from nowhere. And it was just everything. That Robertson's crap. Your man Salah, he's brutal. Hasn't played football in
Where
10 years.
did you see this, Phil?
All over Twitter, man. It was just
You see, well, there, that's your issue.
But it's not just...
No real people are saying it.
But listen to me, right? They've been sitting there waiting for a moment. We're talking about a team that, as I said, has only dropped 4 points since Christmas in the league, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sitting there waiting for this. You can see them. I'd say they had those tweets and posts queued. You know the way in your drafts, you're just sitting there waiting, right? So it didn't matter what was going to go on. They had them sitting there waiting. Klopp hasn't a clue. What's he doing with those subs? Why did he take that off? Why did he put Keita on? Why is he putting Keita on? Put on Divock Origi. There's people giving out that he didn't put Divock Origi on, right? People giving out that he didn't put Divock Origi on. The same people about 4 months ago would have been giving out had he put Divock Origi on. It's the exact same people. You look at, I'm not mentioning names, but everyone knows in the chat who they are, right? They were the people that were there beforehand. The correlation, I actually drew it today and then I've lost it. I had this Venn diagram of 4 circles, right? There's the Henderson is crap brigade, right? there's make you up stats mean things brigade, right? And you start bringing them all together. And they all, if you in the centre, they're all the people that popped out on Saturday. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's like the complete absence of sense as to what's going on. Like our run-in, look, if you look at our run-in and City's run-in, had a greater propensity for us to drop points because we had more teams in the top half of the table to play as we came up. And this was always, and Gav, I said it to you about 3 or 4 weeks ago, this was my biggest worry as we went into this run-in, right? I thought there was more, we had more banana skins to get through than City had, right? And I really felt that we needed to beat City to give us a 2-point cushion, that if we did drop a point, there would still be pressure on you. You only level, if you know what I mean, to what was there. But these fellas, I and it's been a while, and it just reminded me of why I've stopped being on social media. I got annoyed, right? I got annoyed, and I was looking at the phone, and I was getting more annoyed, and I was like, "This is why I don't do this anymore." And the ridiculousness, why are they doing that? Yeah, because do you know what? They're going to go on afterwards and say, do you know what? Tom, I love Naby 056 is bang on there. Bang on. Could somebody get a message out to Trent? Thomas just said that he should stop crossing the ball. He doesn't know how to cross the ball, right? This is the fella who's the best number of assists and deliveries in the league, right? And then fucking rubbish that's been spouted about the midfield. Like they were before the game, the same people before the game, that's the midfield. That's the best midfield we have. Best midfield in the world. Best midfield ever that you've ever seen in the history of ever, right? Within 6 minutes, that midfield's awful. That midfield should never play again together, ever. Ever. They're just terrible. They're lethargic, right? Not once crossed their mind. These are fellas, we're going to play in every single game we possibly could play in this season. Right? There's not a single game that we couldn't have played in, right? And these lunatics are wondering why this team looks a bit slow and lethargic off it. Lunatics. I wonder why. At some point, like the people saying, Salah, crap. Ever since this contract thing blew up, he's crap. It's not. Ever since he went to the African Nations Cup, he's played 60 games already. This fella's he's played nearly 2 seasons worth of football in less than a season. And they're wondering why and at the same time, This is what we're talking about. He's now down to scoring 1 and 3 and has more or less on a par with assists that he had before the season started. Like
disaster.
It's off the charts mental. Off the charts mental.
To be honest with you, just a bit of advice. If you're on Twitter and you see people that spend a week posting Liverpool stuff about how great the club is, and then spend match day about an hour before kickoff, spend match day giving out fuck before the game kicks off, and then listing players that we should buy on 75 and we're not winning, block them, mute them, take them away out of your life, right? Because it's not worth it. There's so many good people on social media, on Twitter. I have more laugh on Twitter about non-football stuff than football stuff. Just random stuff that you talk about. Me and Keith were having a lovely talk about Carlos Valderrama's football boots in around 1993. They were Reebok, they were black, they were luminous green, they were fantastic, right? And that stuff, that's what social media is for, to be social, right? What you see from people on social media is, it's definitely a FIFA generation thing. There's no doubt about it, right? But I'm not going to go into that. It's definitely a FIFA generation thing. But if you're looking for reactions on Twitter and you're seeing that sort of reaction, you're not talking to someone that's going to A, probably converse with you, and B, will converse with you to a point where they will talk about the game. There's so many people out there that all you hear from them is madness. You don't hear football stuff from them. It's just madness. So, Phil, I would give you a bit of advice, and I would say to you to just hit the block button or hit the mute button and move on. You know what I mean? Liverpool, you're right. Liverpool, you're right, are playing lots of games. There's a Man City fan in the chat having a lovely, lovely time. Fair play to him. Or her. I don't know who it is, but I can't even read the name because it's a bit weird. But Liverpool are playing loads of games. You will, at some stage, come up against teams that are well drilled and look to defend against you at all costs. Some of them can do it, some of them can't. On Saturday, one of them done it really, really well, and Liverpool are probably 5% off it. And what happened? That mix, or that perfect storm of something, gets you a draw. Not a defeat, a draw. So, when it comes of people like coming out of the woodwork and giving out, you know, I seen someone the other day telling Twitter that basically after Liverpool qualify for the Champions League final, how much Liverpool should have to spend in the summer. You know, and I'm going to go, mate, we're all locked, we're all drunk, we're all on cans, we've got fucking Paris stalled, the lot, and you're talking about net spend in the summer. Would you ever ask me bollocks, right? It's the only way I can put it. But the thing is, Phil, I will say to you, on social media, you have control as to who you see. I don't know one actual real life human being that has come near me, and I speak to loads of them, right? Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, United fans, loads of them. I haven't had one real person come near me and say, well, you know, well, I'm fucking telling you, like, you know, they need to sign him in the summer. You know?
I do. I've met them.
Where?
So I did all those live gigs with you. You remember this?
I know, but where do you meet them?
They were there. They were there. We had people threatening to throw chips at people and everything. Like, seriously.
Phil, on Saturday, we played a game. It's now Monday night. I've spoken to loads of people about this game. Yeah. And not one real person has said to me, well, my big takeout with this is that we should sign this, this, and this. And if it is your take, if you're a real human and that's your take, you need to evaluate what's going on. You should be just looking, going, let's win on Tuesday, let's go and win the FA Cup final, let's beat Southampton, let's beat Wolves, and let's go to Paris and try beat Madrid. And at the end of it all, we can absolutely sit down and chat about it. I have to give Pete the last couple of minutes.
No, just before Pete starts, because honestly, right, I have a solution to this, and if Elon Musk, if you're watching tonight, here's what it is, right? What I want you to do is I want you to create upvotes and downvotes on this Twitter feed, Jordan matches, right? And if somebody gets a billionty downvotes for a stupid opinion, right, they're blocked from posting Jordan match day, right? So basically, Gav, you can't post. So if you've got Naby says in 80, 60, 40, 30, right, and you post whatever it is, and Jordan match day, if you post nonsense that people keep downvoting because it's a crap opinion, right, the algorithm goes, Naby says in 80, 40, 67, you can no longer tweet Jordan Liverpool matches. Wouldn't that be brilliant? Right? You're out. You can't post anything.
I think that's
you're
fair.
Talking nonsense.
I think, to be honest with you, the only takeaway, I was talking to Shawnee about this before, I think, the quarter-final. When Liverpool are really in great momentum, and let's face it, most of the time this season they have been, and then people start talking about transfers, I'm like, oh, stop. Like, I can't, I just, my only wish is let's keep what we have together. That'd be great. A couple of the young lads coming through. The other thing, I mean, thing I always take away from the Henderson thing is I can't understand. And Gav, you mentioned it earlier, I can never understand the FIFA generation not understanding things like the influence that I'm.
But it's not about understanding, Pete. That's just the way the world has gone.
It's just bizarre.
It's not these kids' fault.
But you remember, Gav, we played at Atlanta, I think, over there, and there was no fans there.
Yeah.
And it's the best example I've ever seen. If you ever just listen, you don't even have to watch, listen to the things he's saying to each and every player. It's just, if you don't understand the value of it.
Pete, we're running out of time here, but the thing is, these youngsters aren't interested in all of that. They're and
football.
Sean, Phil, loads of people have said it. They follow players now. They follow players and they follow trends. And you go on FIFA and it's like team of the week, player of the week, fucking John Barnes, 95 card. And I'm like, John Barnes is fucking 55 years old. What the fuck's he doing on FIFA? But that's what it's all about now. It's all about the fact that they follow players and they follow trends. It's not about listen, let's be honest about it. I'm pissing against the wind coming on here every night and talking about Liverpool in a certain way and expecting loads and loads of people to listen. I would be better off coming on here, swinging a scarf around my head and fucking singing Fernando Morientes songs. Genuinely, right? I know I'm pissing against the wind, but I enjoy it, right? Who doesn't enjoy a good piss when out in the wind? I don't know many people that don't, okay? But this is what you're up against. So you have to actually...
Try to stay downwind.
Well, you never know. It depends. Is it warm out? I don't fucking know. But what I'm saying is, right, when you can actually align yourself with what's going on in the world and what you're playing against, it's fine. It's absolutely fucking fine. Do you know what I mean?
Give one 10-second comment, right? If you're on banging on about transfers, at this moment in time, right? Transfers only
10
exist.
seconds left, by the way.
Transfers only exist when we're shit. There's no point in talking about transfers at this moment in time because they're deadly. So get over yourself and stop worrying about it. Bill.
Okay. Hold on.
We're in showbiz, baby.
Baby.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We're down to our last. I'm gonna find let me know if people like the Eamon Dunphy stuff because I can't find more because Shawnee has become obsessed with Eamon Dunphy over the last 72 hours in particular. I just keep
Shawnee won't like it, but he's morphing into me because like if you go back 10 years to when we started the pod, I was basically the Dunphy and I modelled my style on Dunphy, and you just get cantankerous. It's not even, you don't have to model yourself on it. You just basically have to get cantankerous as you get older.
Anyone that doesn't know Eamon Dunphy, right? Sean put up a brilliant clip the other day, right? So before we got to our last thing, I have to tell you this. So they're talking about our friend Terry Venables, right? Mm-hmm. So it's Bill
fantastic.
Bill O'Hare, he's sitting there, right, with a glass of water, half kind of up off the desk because he wants to take a drink, but he has to talk, right? John Giles is sitting there. Souness is sitting there, and of course Souness loved RTE because he thought it was just berserk, right? Because they all come on drunk, and Souness was like, I'll have a bit of that. But John Giles is trying to go on about Terry Venables, and he says, well, look, anyone I've spoken to in the game, you know, has managed to be in close with Terry Venables, says that he's a really good guy once he concentrates on it. And Dunphy goes, what do you mean? When's he gonna concentrate? He said, I'll tell you, he said he got that Leeds job and he didn't turn up for the first game because he was doing a show for the BBC at the fucking Flower Show or something, right? Or a travel show, right? And he goes, so it went on, and John tried to say something, and he goes, but hold on, John. But every time he interrupts, he keeps saying, sorry, John. And at the end of it, he goes, sorry, John, go on. But John Giles is fucking human, right?
John Giles,
he's so good. He's so fucking good. It is by far and away the best football coverage you will ever see was RTE with Giles, Dunphy,
never be touched.
And I had a third one, Souness or whatever.
Never ever be
absolutely
touched.
Brilliant.
Dunphy was phenomenal.
Graham Souness's face when he starts settling in, looking at them going,
who did you manage, Eamon? I managed to be alive for 63 years here, Graham. Baby, nah.
Tom Boland says to put a clock on my rambling. That might have to happen. Is Tom Boland the man that's offered us money if there's a hole in one on the golf day?
I think he is. Yeah. But come here. Do you remember he came into the studio locked during one of the World Cups as well? He came straight from Lilies into the studio. And they had to apologise the next day.
But wasn't that another one where he
tired and emotional?
He didn't know he didn't know he was on live. He just kept going. And he was quite lucky that what he said was just a bit like, I think he was coursing and stuff like that.
Of course.
We
apologise for Eamon's behaviour last week.
I just kept saying sorry. It was fucking amazing here. Right, losers to finish off? No, winners to finish off. Is that right?
Winners, yeah. My winners this week is for the anyone champion Mediocrity. the way people have gone on about Spurs managing to eke out a draw by basically playing the Everton style with a horse up front and actually one decent player is
we
amazing.
lost 5-0 at home, didn't we? Did we not lose 5-0 at home against Spurs?
But it's not just the Spurs. The Spurs is an interesting one because they're a London-based club to get this pro thing. You also get the champion and Frank Lampard manages to win the match and he's doing a great job now at Everton. I think he won 3 games since he took over Everton. Do you know what I mean? Like,
listen, Phil. Sorry, before you go,
listen to me. I didn't go anywhere. I'm only starting. Don't cut me off.
Frank Lampard. The Everton fans are celebrating.
Missing the part that says, "Don't cut me off when I'm starting." I'm just starting.
Sorry, go ahead.
Right? You can go and talk about Frank Lampard when we're finished. But at this moment in time, I'm here to explain where champion mediocrity is the winners of the week, because this week, the whole weekend, was based on the amazing ability of teams to be shit and get away with it. And that's basically it, right? So Spurs are shit. They were saying Conte got his tactics absolutely bang on.
I don't think Spurs were shit, though.
Gav, they were nothing though. They were nothing. They got a 2-2 draw against us in December when we had 9 players out with COVID, right? They've come to Anfield and they basically sat in and tried to play in the counter-attack. They didn't do anything amazing, right? What Conte did was a classic Italian job where you just sit in and hope for your best that you don't give games away. We had enough chances. Those headers from Van Dijk, one of those goes in, it changes the complex of the game. We get the first goal, the whole game, the complex changes because they have to come out of it. The one thing I will say, Spurs' one piece of quality is Son. He's like Harry Kane gets all the plaudits, but Son is a different level to every other player they have, right? But it's an overall team. You look at Arsenal, Arteta gets a new contract to whatever it is, right? And this is not to have a go at the Arsenal fans or Arsenal as such. They are actually doing quite well for what they have been compared to what it was like. And then you look at, like, United have basically packed it. And when I tell you they've packed it in, I've never seen a team at that level throw in the towel. Like, it reminded me of the Stoke game. And I still can't figure out how they've played 37 matches. It's like they've asked the league, can they play a few games, just get them out of the way with so they can get the season over. It's like, I'm amazed at this. They've got 1 match left and the rest of us have 3 or 4 games that's going on. But it's okay because something's coming along the line. And you look at all this and you look at what's going on, and there's no true recognition for brilliant performances in the league this year. Like West Ham, there's a genuine case to be made that West Ham's performance this year across both the Europa League and the league itself is the best performance of a team outside of the top 6 teams, right? And better.
I think West Ham have been brilliant this season.
Sorry, Gav, but better than Arsenal, United, Spurs, and Chelsea for achieving what they've achieved in comparison to what those other teams have spent. And I know it's so hard to break that top 4, to break the top 6 because of the amount of money those teams are spending. But to do what they've done with David Moyes as their manager is a far, far greater impressive feat than what you've seen at a Spurs, where they went and spent a load of money and they got Conte in, recognised one of the best managers in Europe at this moment in time. And Spurs have managed to go nowhere. They're basically in the same place they've been. United, gone nowhere. They sacked Solskjaer. They may as well have kept him because their performances would have ranked the exact same, potentially even better than what they've done at the moment. But they've gone nowhere. Arsenal have gotten top 4 by default because the rest of the teams are so bad around them. So, and that's where I come back to this idea that the press is champion mediocrity. You look at Chelsea. Chelsea's wheels fell off not before the Abramovich and the Russia situation happened. It had fallen off after Christmas. If you go back to what the press was saying at November, Chelsea were going to win the league. They were so better than everybody else. Like, honestly, what the coverage of the Tottenham result against ours was hailed as some type of victory against the top 2 sides, when in reality it was a draw, and Liverpool still went top of the league that night. And I was there going, this is insane. This is absolutely insane. If they think that this is the way of bringing forward the game and bringing more teams to a part what it is, then they've gone mad, because it's as I said to you, it's champion mediocrity. As I said, you look at the bottom end of the table, it's still the same shite they're going on about down there. It'd be interesting if Conte walks and goes to a bigger job, which I probably think he will, because he's not going to hang around at the out. It'd be interesting to see what Potter does if he goes from Brighton to Spurs, because I think the guy looks a decent manager. Of all the English managers, he looks the one to have a bit more intelligence about him. Do you know what he is? And the best way I can describe Potter, because again, Brighton is another one that they should be championing because of what he's done. And Brentford haven't been in trouble all season long, despite spending.
They had a bit of a period around January, February. I thought they were falling like a stone, and then they came really good. Christian Eriksen was a big part of that, I think, as well.
But there's the ones they're the stories. They're the brilliant outside of Liverpool in terms of what we've done across the course of the league and being able to challenge the City. Outside of those are the three teams that the story of this league outside of the top end of the table is. That's what they are, right? Honest to God, I just look at it and go, yeah, fantastic. You got a draw. Isn't that brilliant? You know, you managed not to get top four, and you managed to do nothing.
Well, I think on Spurs are probably looking at it thinking, take a point. They know Arsenal will probably beat Leeds. They'd be they're 4 points off Arsenal. They're probably looking and saying to themselves, rightly or wrongly, put it all down to the London derby. Get it back to the North London derby. Get it to 1 point. I think Spurs finish up with Burnley at home, Norwich away. Arsenal finish with Newcastle away, Everton at home. Now, I think Newcastle. I think regardless of the North London derby, I think Arsenal could win both those games. But Arsenal aren't known for working well under pressure. I will say that, and that could be a tactic of Spurs. I don't know what people expected from Spurs, because the only thing I would say about it is the players that they have and the way people go on about these players, and quite rightly, Harry Kane's a brilliant goal scorer. Son is probably one of the most underrated players on the planet, right? Kulusevski has come in and has done really well, and they've an option to buy on him. I don't know if it depends on Champions League qualification. I could be right, I could be wrong on that. I don't know. But
you're right.
But the players they have, you would expect them to be a bit more expansive and a little bit more brave. You know, the sort of way. I think when it came to the weekend, Liverpool have played a lot of games. There's always going to be someone where the tempo's not right, not quite right. I think that's what happened with Liverpool at the weekend. But you have to give Spurs some credit where they can. I give Spurs credit on one hand, but I'd kind of ask a question on the other, and I think that's quite fair. I'd give them credit to the point where you go, they've come into this game, they've made sure they haven't lost it. That's the first thing they want to do. They've been defensively solid. They've been quite good on the break. That's fine. But the other question I'd ask is, mate, you have loads of time to prepare for this. You know Liverpool are coming off a semi-final, right, on a heavy enough pitch in Villarreal during the week. We're playing on Saturday night, and go for it a bit more. But you're not going to get that because Conte is what Conte is. I agree with you. I don't know what happens with Conte at Spurs. Like, you know, I've seen people saying, "Oh, Klopp this, Klopp that," because he answered how Spurs played at the weekend. Antonio Conte's had about 3 meltdowns this season, publicly, in front of cameras, where he's literally told the club, like, I'm out of here. I've had enough of this shit. Do you know what I mean? But don't get me wrong. Do I see anything wrong with it? No, he's just being passionate. But what happens is people go, oh, he's fucking this, he's that, whatever, right? I don't think... I don't think Spurs are good when you're asked them to take the initiative. That's just me watching them this season. I don't think they are. With regards to Arsenal, I think it's huge for them to get top four. And I think they have progressed if they get top four, because they've actually progressed. You've seen them in 5th and 6th and out of Europe in times in the league. I think they've progressed. Man United are an absolute shit show. And the longer it goes on, the better. And just for that Ten Hag song that they have, I hope they never win another football match ever again. Chelsea, for me, are literally keeping their powder dry for the FA Cup final. I think they're just going to stutter their way to the end of the season, get in top 4. They don't give a fuck if it's 3rd or 4th now at this stage, and they'll be done. And FA Cup final, what it's all about. And it leaves Liverpool and Manchester City. I agree with you on West Ham. I think West Ham have done brilliantly, because there's so much made of Europa League football, Thursday, Sunday. And I think overall they've handled it absolutely brilliantly, especially when you look at the likes of the United squad. And to a point, Spurs squad, and Arsenal, where Arsenal weren't in Europe, I don't think. You
got dragged into the wrong thing of getting at. The getting at here wasn't at Spurs, it wasn't at the teams, right?
Yeah, but you went through loads of teams, so I'm trying to tell you what these teams are about.
It's the perception that these teams have achieved anything by having one.
But that's what I'm just explaining to you.
Average result that.
But Arsenal will achieve something. West Ham definitely have. City, like you said earlier, are on par. Liverpool, are they overachieving? No, I don't think so. I think Liverpool are that good. And I think City should be up there and contesting European Cup finals with them and FA Cup finals with them. They met in the semi-final. Let's go. P, what do you make of this?
Everton, to be honest with you, you know, it's just amazing. I mean, you want to talk about, you know, where people are. I mean, I grew up with Phil, fearing Everton. Now we're showing our ages now, lads. You know, when Liverpool were going for something, inevitably Everton were probably the ones standing in their way, to be quite honest. So that's how far back we all go. But for me, I'm watching Everton supporters and Everton themselves celebrating. Phil makes a point earlier on celebrating mediocrity, celebrating singing Frank Lampard's name. Frank Lampard, and celebrating the fact that he's just scraped them out of the bottom 3 places so far. But he's the one that dragged them into it. I mean, it's incredible that within one generation that a club can actually forget who they are. It's incredible for me. It's incredible that a bunch of fans can actually, their whole weekend comprises of how did Liverpool do and what drugs are Liverpool players taking now. And by the way, we have a bunch of away fans who can make noise and have found blue flares. It's I can't believe the depth. I can't believe the depths that Everton Football Club have actually fallen to. I mean, if they went down and if they go down, because they still could, but if they went down, I'm one of those weird ones. I would miss the derby, miss the occasion, all that. But I tell you, wouldn't miss their football because it's been non-existent for the best part of 25, 30 years. Don't miss how horrible some of the fans can be about us. And they actually would deserve it. I mean, they've spent more money probably than anyone down in and around there, and almost as much money as Arsenal and Manchester City. It's incredible. I don't know if there's a football club in the world that has wasted more money and has fallen from quite the perch that they've fallen from. And they want to blame everybody
past the summer, because if they do go down, it's oblivion. If they stay up, it'll be interesting to see how they rearrange themselves, because they're posting 100 million losses per season. And the FA and the Premier League, although have not turned a blind eye but are watching it, if they stay up, I think they're going to come down heavy on them very quickly and say, you better sort this because we're not putting up for another year of it. Matt asks, why haven't Spurs achieved something, picking up 8 points and staying unbeaten against the 2 best teams in the world? I don't think that's going to wash. If you go up to UEFA and ask them for a place in the Champions League, I don't think they're going to give it to you off the back of that, Matt.
You might have got it in the European Super League, though.
But the thing is, like, Spurs to progress need to get in the top 4. That's simple as that. They just need to get in.
Spurs blew a Gav. Spurs were close under Pochettino.
I think they're still in with a chance. I'm actually, and like, I actually think that fucking North London derby is going to be insane later this week. I'm really, really looking forward to it. Will we do 5 more minutes on any stuff? Because I want to talk to Phil about his media accreditation. Because he's really up for it, and he sent me a tweet as well.
We're in showbiz, baby.
So can we not get the Dunphy soundboy? I'll tell you, Bill. I'll tell you who he is. I'll tell you.
Oh, he's the fella that ran away with the thing. Yeah. I can get it. Yeah,
the young one.
Get it. I can absolutely get it.
I'm ashamed tonight, Bill. I've had enough, Bill. I'm ashamed to be Irish. But he kind of didn't throw the pen across the thing. And I'll tell you, unless there's the Burns and Bears going on, he absolutely did throw the pen across. Because I remember sitting there watching the Egypt after everything, and he lost the plot and launched that pen across the table.
The terrible game of football.
Yeah.
Look, I really enjoyed that. Putting the time limit on it where we just have to get our words out and do stuff and get it out of the way. Bang on 11 o'clock we are. We're bang on 11 o'clock, which is absolutely brilliant.
Gets Phil, me a chance to watch Brilliant Times.
Phil, have you got any mad stuff this week? Any stuff you've seen? Have you seen the Everton fan doing the Everton version of the Liverpool song about Jurgen Klopp?
Yeah.
That's fucking outstanding, isn't it?
It's all levels are wrong.
Yeah. And if you want to know where it is, I can put a link in.
The weird one. Is it the weird girl with the red hair?
No. She's just mental. She's great. I love her. But no, this is basically. I can put a link. You can put a link in the chat. But if you subscribe to this channel, hit the community page, you can sign up to our Telegram app. It's being posted in the Telegram app. It's a tweet. I'm sure someone could put it in the comments afterwards. I don't know. But it's basically this fella. He just has his phone facing down, and he basically says, "Look, I'm sick of all these Reds having all these songs. So let's get this going on Wednesday." And he's like. Lampard says to me, we keep us in the Premier League, and he has too many words and everything. But he doesn't. On the second sentence, he doesn't know whether to say Frank or Lampard, so he just says Flampard, and it's the most amazing thing ever. And I found this at about 12:30 last night. It's outstanding. Go and check that out. So that's my tip for the week. Go and check it out.
Oh, I have to say that.
Sensational.
Yeah. So anything before we go, boys?
One of the most amazing things I came across, I was actually today, was a retriever doodle. right? I know about a Labradoodle, but a Retriever Doodle, Gav, it's a cross between a Golden Retriever and a Poodle, right?
Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense.
It's like a dog you'd imagine in a cartoon. It was, I have to say now, it was the most beautiful dog I've seen in such a long time. It was such
call that dog the Flampard.
It was called the Flampard because it had hair that came down and that whole. Yeah, actually, I'll tell you what, and it's not sport, but it should be a sport. Can somebody explain to me why young lads in their early 20s have decided that they don't want to have any locks on the side of their head anymore? Because it's upsetting me. I was down sea
What do you
swimming.
mean?
I was down sea swimming last night and I seen all these young lads, and just, you know, the side of your hair. See here, like the natural man part, where your hair comes around and says, like, this is my Lego hair, and this is where it sticks onto the side of the head.
Yeah.
But they're all shaving them off up to here, like, and I'm there going,
what?
That looks like something out of One Flew Over
Like
the
Johnny
Cuckoo's
Mnemonic.
Nest. Yeah,
like a bad Keanu
what's
Reeves
this
movie.
about? So I was thinking maybe it was just my imagination. And
No, I think you've really shown your age tonight, because Twitter has really upset you because people like that are probably about 14 are posting stuff about Liverpool, and now you're down swimming in the sea and shouting at kids because their hair is going too high.
Oh
It's
man,
amazing.
it's a cloud.
It's wonderful.
Do you know who you're going to turn into? Do you know Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino? That's what you're going to turn into, aren't you? But it'd be like it'd be a Mark II escort in the garden, and you'd be just
Look, I get they're trying to grow these mullet things, and they're even getting the mullet horribly wrong. Like if like as a child of the 80s and early 90s, like a mullet was specific in terms of what it was. But they're walking around with these, you know, COVID lockdown haircuts, right? I don't know if it's some
Emma Kavanagh says they're walking around brushing their hair in public.
Yeah, like there's all sorts of weirdness that's going on, but this locks thing is really freaking me out. It's just like when you walk around, Gav, it honestly looks like they've been let out for the day. Right?
Brandon Cheese, jeez, we've hit loads of middle-aged men here. He says, Brandon Cheese says it's more upsetting that the young lads walk around with one hand down their trousers and shouting "yup yup" in every sentence. So there's a lot. It's like a fucking neighbourhood watch meeting. This is now.
Party in the Brickers. Party in the Brickers.
Right. Pete, anything else before we go?
No, just, you know, maybe it is age. You know, you kind of look at and you think it just looks stupid to me. You know, I was in Malaga last week for work, and you know,
right, yeah,
you
always need to go down when I'm not there. Yeah, what's the story with you? Yeah,
you wait till you go fucking home.
And it's true that they're doing stupid things. But it's just age. I guess they think that looks good now. But who's the reference? When we were young, Phil, we knew who the references were. Do you know what I mean? Like John Barnes was my hero. Do you know what I mean? Morrissey or Elvis was yours, whatever. But you knew who the reference was.
Elvis. Fucking Elvis.
Who's the reference?
Just see Phil going down the barbers and Dream, they're going, just give me the just show him a picture of Elvis and going, same as that fella, please.
I want me locks to hair, lads. Yeah, not like these lunatics with their no locks. I want me locks to. I used to have me locks to hair. I'll dig out a picture where I actually did have my locks to hair.
I've seen a former passport photo of you, and it's fucking horrendous. It's horrendous.
Long hair, locks.
It's mental.
It's mid-90s when social media didn't exist and you could do whatever the hell you want.
Laura Duffy wants us to petition to have a haircut competition at the World Games.
See now, but we have to, Laura, just on the World Games, right? It can't be just have a haircut competition.
It has to be like
something. Layer of difficulty.
Yeah, you're cutting it with a hedge trimmer, like.
Yeah.
You know, something like that.
You have to do it's a skateboarding haircut.
Scissor hands.
Where the two people start off on skateboards.
It's like a drive-by haircut. They're going by with the skateboard. They cut a bit and they go up the ramp and come back towards you. So it's like a drive-by jousting / haircut.
Exactly. Yeah.
We'll sort this War Games out. No bother.
Press accreditation. I'm just waiting on confirmation. I sent over my ID and everything, right? And then I realised I've no tickets and like airline tickets. So if anyone wants to sponsor me to go to the War Games, they can contact Gav. And
no, you can't. No, I'm not taking all correspondence from bleeding lunatics that want to pay to give you £4 towards a fucking flight. Fuck off.
Ideally, who's it? Delta fly into Atlanta.
Delta, a great airline.
Yeah, I need to get.
Is it Atlanta they go into?
To go into Atlanta, and I need to get to Georgia in Alabama Birmingham. Jesus, not Georgia. Georgia's a different state. I need to get to Birmingham in Alabama, and then I'm going to Neil's uncle's house to stay with him for the couple of weeks. But all I need is if somebody can hook me up with flights, then yeah, I'll be a roving reporter on the ground. I'll even go out and do a bit of social reporting, like a Louis Theroux, except me.
On a bike, you've done that before.
On a bike. I did the roving report on the bike around town for the.
Well, I did look.
He's already there.
I'm talking about roving reporting. I looked up some equipment that would enable me and others to go out and basically do these shows anywhere we can. And I said to Phil, check that out. A week later, he still fucking hasn't come back and told me about it. So fuck him and his flights. Make them pay for himself. So that's it.
I was working on the new football in the world.
I forgot to ask Shawnee and Keith, can we call it football in the world now? I'll write that down as well. It was not Tom Boland that offered money for the hole in one.
Who was it?
I can't remember because I actually sent it to Keith and Shawnee and said I need to do something on that, and then I forgot about it. So
Tom Nabby Keita Boland 6834557.
Season.
Well, I'll tell you something. By the way, if anyone's there and they want to donate to Féileacáin, the link is in the description. You can do it there. If you want to sponsor one of the 2 remaining golf holes that are available for sponsorship, €100 each, contact us on our email, lfcdaytrippers@gmail.com. I think P should go off now to Spain, some company that he works for, and say, listen, give us €100. This is very important because he's one prick I haven't fucking got onto about it. So I'm doing it now live and I'm shaming him into it. But there's 2 holes left, €100 each if you want to do that. If you want to donate, the link is in the description. If you can't donate, that's absolutely fine. Fire it across all your socials and stuff like that.
If everyone wants to get me to Birmingham, Alabama for the World Games, they need to put money into Féileacáin. They need whatever money you want to give me to get tickets for the.
We can't take it out of Féileacáin and give it to you then, though.
No, I'm just here. I'm just doing one. Do you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
You know, and then I'll get. Do you know what? I'll get a green screen and I'll pretend I'm in Birmingham in front of the World Games. I'll lash it up behind me. I know how to work the green screen.
You see, if Birmingham, Alabama, fair enough, but I would love nothing more than to see. I'd actually pay for it to see you go to the World Games if it was in Florida, right? And just beside like a trailer park, because I genuinely believe that Philip Casey's calling in life is to move alone to Florida, right? Because I know he's loads of kids, but but this is brilliant. Move alone to Florida, live in a trailer park, right? No, doesn't have to work. He's just enough money to get by every week. He's comfortable and literally wander the streets and just comment on fucking everyone and everything going on in America. I think it would be absolutely fucking insane and brilliant. So there you go.
Who's gonna pay his bail? That's all I'd say.
No, I just think he suits Florida, staying in a trailer park, living alone, and just being able to. Because in America, you can say what you want. I think Phil is absolutely nailed.
If we could get him an interview with Ron DeSantis, he'd be deported within a week. But I would pay to watch you, Phil, have a 1-to-1 with Ron DeSantis. Anybody familiar with Florida politics, American politics, will know why. Phil, 1-to-1 with Ron DeSantis.
Well,
he's a mad Republican. Anyone that knows.
Anyway, well, listen.
But not like a good Republican, like in the Irish sense. It's like
no. Don't go there. Jeez, not after the voting over the weekend.
Not a John McCain Republican.
Hit the like button on your way out. 200 and 300 watching earlier. 115 likes. 3 don't like it. Tell us why in the comments after. As I said, big boys, we can take it. That has been the winners and losers. Tomorrow we will have full time Reds at 10 p.m. Midweek fix on Wednesday. Night off on Thursday because I've other stuff to do. And Friday we have Sports Unplugged. Saturday we have full-time Reds after the FA Cup final. And Sunday we have the Fatback 4. As I said, Féileacáin link is in the description. What?
The FA Cup final is this weekend.
Yeah, you watching it? No. Of course you won't. Right. Okay.
I actually won't.
I know you won't. I'll struggle actually. I'm at a communion or a christening. One of them fucking things.
What time is it on it?
It's the worst thing to come out of It's the worst thing to come out of this COVID thing that people are having christenings and communions. It was great during the COVID. Just went down, poured water over the kid's head, came back and went, yeah, he's christened. You know what I mean?
Back to the football.
Gave a kid a fucking bit of batch bread and said he'd made his communion, all that sort of stuff. And now we have to go and do stuff again. Right, that's definitely it. Winners and losers, over and out.
We're in showbiz, baby.